3rd and 4. Hayes goes left, Allworth right. Hayes will be covered by Willie Williams. Allworth by Athens. Foul back. Will be wiped out at the 35. Good pressure. Al Peck coming on the blitz from his linebacking position. Brett Dreyer pressuring, and Carl Lockhart coming on the safety blitz.
Well, hello! Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video, and welcome to the Gridiron. And before we get started, just want to say thank you so much to everyone out there who's been watching my videos. Thank you. If you can maybe give this video a thumbs up or possibly leave a comment below, maybe even share this video, it would mean so much to me. But at least anyway, just thank you so much for just taking time out of your day to check out this video. Thank you. Well, I mean, I got, it's certainly a win-win. Obviously, Joe Shane's trying to save some money. And it looked really, good chance we were just going to have to let Shep go. Because we would have saved about $4 million. His salary was like 12.5. It was like $8.5 million dead cap hit. So, there's a lot of dead cap money there. So, but that would, if we let him go, that also would have freed us up a lot for next season. So, because next season his contract is over 13. But more on that in just a second. We would have saved $4 million. Okay, but $4 million is $4 million, especially when you're trying to come up with $40 million, as Joe Shane's trying to do. So, it's pretty much a win-win. All right, so, the terms of the deal, okay, are not quite available yet, all right? But you can be pretty sure that his reduction in salary is probably going to be very close to, $4 to $5 million. If he was going to make $12.5 million, I'm anxious to see what it's going to be. You got to figure it's probably going to be around $7 or $8 million. That is his salary. So regardless, the Giants are saving themselves some money, so that's good, and they saved themselves some more money, and again, and that a little bit too. So so that's good. Now Spot Track has taken Shepard's salary off of the books for the 2022 season upcoming because the terms of the deal are not yet available. All right. But as of right now, with his salary off the books, Spot Track has us with about $6 million worth of salary cap money. $6 million to the good. Now, of course, once you put his salary on there, we're going to be very close to be right at the salary, cap, or we might be $1 million or so over. So we're going to have, more cuts are yet to come. More restructuring of contracts, maybe Martinez, right? But we got some movement coming up, and it's going to be coming up pretty quickly. Within the next few days to a week or so. But apparently, the final year of his deal, what I was reading, all right, has been wiped clean. Okay, so after this season, he can become a free agent. So his salary next season was over $13 million. So that's a nice size cap hit. So so that'll be wiped off the books. So that's huge. So we can either re-sign him if we do, if he wants to stay here, which if he can stay healthy. I'd love to have him. I love the guy. Absolutely phenomenal, class act. Loves football. Loves his teammates. Just likes being here and all and everything. You just see somebody you want on your team. Absolutely. And with the injury he had, supposedly he's by the end of the summer. He's on track to be kind of hopefully good to go. Hopefully he comes back as healthy as he was. He's doing a very good job. Supposedly by the end of the summer, if not sooner. So wow, fantastic. I absolutely love Shep. Phenomenal second round pick. Absolutely phenomenal. He's the longest tenured Giant from 2016. Go figure, huh? So it's great knowing he was returned. So now we got Shepard. got Kadarius Toney, we got Kenny Galladay, and we got Saquon. I mean, as long as we don't wind up trading Saquon or anything, So we got some weapons. Now we do need a little bit of help in the tight end department. All right, maybe we're gonna find somebody. Hopefully in the draft. I mean, because we don't have Evan Ingram, Kyle Rudolph's not there. I saw something we might wind up keeping Caden Smith. I mean, okay, that's cool, but I mean he would be somebody you can let go for I think it was like $2.5 million in salary cap room if you let him go. It's not official. I mean, I was reading somebody saying that quite possibly we might want to keep Caden Smith. I said, which is fine with me, but I thought he would be a cap casualty. But I mean, there's some decent tight ends in the draft that you can certainly get in the 3rd or 4th round, right? There's no Kyle Pitts out there, but there's some decent tight ends. Some guys with different flavors to them. Some guys that maybe a little faster. Some guys that good hands. Some guys with good blockers, and So there's different types of tight ends out there. I mean, hopefully the Giants wind up picking somebody up, and hopefully whoever they wind up drafting is good. Just because you draft them don't mean they're going to wind up being any good. But I mean, one of the things is with Shepard is that based also upon maybe re-signing him in 2023. I mean, he only played 7 games last year. Right? He had a hamstring, he had a quad, he had calf injuries, then he tore his ACL, and then boom, he was out for the whole season. Once again, one of those non-contact injuries. So him and Blake Martinez, they just planted their foot in the turf, and boom, their season's over with. Absolutely unbelievable. I said, hopefully he can stay healthy. In the past 3 years, he's missed 20 games. He missed 10 games last year. He played in 7 out of 17, and then he missed 10 games the 2 seasons prior to that. Right? He's only played the whole season 2 times. His first season and his 3rd season, he played the whole season. Right? His 2nd season, he missed 5 games. So his 2nd, 4th, 5th, and 6th season, he's missed 25 games. So the 4th season, when he gets hurt, he misses like basically on average of 6 games a season. I mean, that's like a third of the season. I mean, so I'd be very interested to see, especially, I mean, it'll be interesting like with Sterling Shepard. Can he stay healthy? If he gets hurt again and misses another 6, 7 games, half the season, whatever, I can't see why we would want to re-sign him. Same thing with Saquon, right? I mean, you love the guy to death. Class act, absolutely love the guy. The guy can play on my team anytime. He might have some deficiencies here or there or whatever, but I mean, absolutely love the guy. Class act, human being, love him. But once again, if he gets hurt again, it's like, this is a contract year, or we can franchise tag him, But I mean, it's, do you want to sign it to a, 4-year deal, 3-4 year deal? If you can't stay healthy, so that might be the same thing with Daniel Jones too. I mean, if he gets hurt, misses another 4 or 5 games, it's kind of like, but anyway, putting the cart before the horse. But even, I mean, with Sterling Shepard, all right, even as bad as the O was last season, he had 36 receptions in 7 games for 366 yards. Okay, so that's basically that's 5 catches a game in this crappy ass offense that we had. Jason the Clapper's offense. He averaged 52.3 yards per game. All right. So if he played the whole season, all 17 games, he'd have 85 catches for 889 yards. That's not too bad playing in a really horrible offense. I mean, 85 catches, that's pretty good. I mean, 889 yards, I mean, that's, not super duper spectacular, but I mean, in this bad offense, I mean, that's. And the thing is it's what's so important is, Daniel Jones with familiarity, having Saquon, knowing what he can and he can't do. Shepard, I mean, when they're in the game, they seem like they're on the same page, which is huge, absolutely huge. You're bringing in, Kenny Galladay, Kadarius Toney. It's the first season you've been with him, whatever. Over time, maybe you get more and more comfortable with him. But I mean, with Shepard, I mean, it's the 3rd season they played together. You get the familiarity. It's kind of like with Daniel Jones. I mean, it's like, as far as the familiarity. I mean, like with Daniel Jones is, this is going to be in, was it 2018? He was at Duke. 2019, so he had offensive system in Duke. 2019, he was with Pat Shermer, offensive system. 2020, 21, he was with the Clapper, Jason Garrett, and now in 2022 is Dable. So 4 out of the past 5 seasons is going to be a brand new offensive system for him. Right? I mean, it's familiarity, which is huge. I mean, being in the same system for multiple years, so you're not thinking about, the play and this and that. You can just walk up to the line of scrimmage and just diagnose it without worrying about other things, It's huge. So, I mean, if he could stay healthy, that would be absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So, I mean, hopefully same thing with Daniel Jones. But with our cap casualties now, talking about Riley Dixon, all right, he will not be back, saving the Giants $2.8 million, baby. Yeah. We have Jamie Gillian on the roster, who had been with the Cleveland Browns for a couple of seasons. I believe he's under $1 million. So Riley Dixon. Hey, Riley Dixon, I'll tell you, when the first 2 years we had him, I mean, he was really, really good. I mean, last season, I think I read where he only had like 2 punts downed inside the 20-yard line. I mean, that's not very good at all. I mean, he had a couple brutal games there last year. Very, very, it was his worst season that he had since he's been with the Giants, right? He just seems like each year he just seems to get like a little worse and a little worse and a little worse. I'm not quite sure why. I mean, it's not like he's 53 years old or something. I mean, but for whatever it is, I mean, I'm sure he'll hook on someplace else, but saving himself $2.8 million, so that's good. So if we're going to save maybe 4 or 5 with Shepard, save $2.8 million with Riley Dixon, so hopefully we're saving ourselves between these two $7-8 million. Okay, which is fantastic. Then what I was reading is that Eli Penning and apparently Colin Gillaspia won't be back with the Giants. Now Eli Penning, he's an unrestricted free agent, all right, and Colin Gillaspia, he was a restricted free agent. But I don't think it was where I saw it wasn't official, but I did see reports like Eli Penning was saying, goodbye to the Giants and the Giants fans and all that and everything. So I guess, I don't know. The writing's on the wall. They're not going to be coming back at all. The Giants are going to be trying to look for some type of like an H-type back, I guess, someone who they can kind of move all over the place. Unlike, you can, kind of, you don't usually take a fullback and put him out wide. You usually don't do stuff like that, you know what I mean? So they're looking more for like maybe it's like an 8. I remember, I think it was Bear Pasco about 10 years or so ago. I mean, I remember he would be like all over the place. He back in around 2010, 2011, somewhere around there. I remember. So I mean, I think that seems like that's kind of maybe the system that they're going to be going for. I guess that their fullbacks they're not going to have much room for fullbacks. Although I mean Eli Penning, times he ran the ball last year, he did a decent job. I mean Colin Gillaspia, I don't think he had a run. I don't think he had a reception last year. He played in like 15 games, but I guess that might all have been special teams, or maybe when he came in he was just strictly a blocker. But the times Eli Penning was in, Eli Penning had a touchdown too. He had a touchdown reception if I'm not mistaken. So I mean he did decent for the Giants. But once again, there's no familiarity there. It's it's basically Shane takes over this roster. He just gets rid of a bunch of guys, brings in his own guys, and then we rock and roll kind of from there. So I mean, Penny and Gillaspia, they were pretty much fullbacks, but if you look at Kansas City's offense, okay, because that's what Mike Kafka, our offensive coordinator, because I mean, Dable, it seems like he's a very open kind of guy. He's, if one of his press conferences, he even talked about it. He said he was talking to his the staff, and he said, if you see a trick play or you see a play in like a high school game or a college game or something, send it over to me. We'll take a look at it. If we like it, we're going to put it in the playbook. And he said, what we'll do is we'll call it, whoever, say the lady Mary saw a play in a high school game, and she sends it to Dable, and he puts it in the playbook. They'll call it the Mary play, I guess. So, I mean, he's open to anything. But, I mean, so, Mike Kafka is going to have a lot of say, in the offensive plays and all that and everything like that. I mean, I guess for the most part it's going to be Dable's playbook, but I mean, I'm sure he's going to be wide open to listen to what Kafka's got to say. But last year they had their fullback was Michael Burton. All right, in 16 games he had 8 rushes for 26 yards. He had 3 receptions for 31 yards. I mean, the Chiefs just didn't have much use at all for any type of a fullback. And if you're looking at Buffalo's offense last year, with Dable, all right, last year their fullback was Reggie Gilliam. All right, so in 16 games last year he had 3 rushes for 3 yards. He had 3 receptions for 23 yards. So they just neither they don't have much of a use for a fullback. Now that doesn't certainly mean that the Giants won't have a fullback. I mean, they might Shane might bring in his own fullback, but I mean if they're not re-signing Penei and Gillaspia, I mean maybe the Giants might carry a fullback, on one instead of maybe 2. And I said it might wind up being somebody that Shane brings in. He doesn't want somebody that Judge and Gettleman had here. So neither one of those offenses had much use for a fullback. So I mean, hopefully it's going to be different. Hopefully a little more wide open, a little more modern. All right, and as I said, if they have anybody that's going to need to do some blocking, they'll use an H-back. They put the H-back, whatever, in the slot or on the line, and maybe bring them into the backfield and block from there. We'll have to wind up waiting and see. But this is just, hopefully, if today's Friday, Monday at noon. All right, so we basically got 3 days: Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Monday at noon. Now, I don't know if the Giants are going to be like gung ho right off the bat with free agency, because I mean, they really don't have much money. They might maybe wait for it to die down. Some of the bigger guys to get signed and all that, and then they might go after some lower priced free agents. But you got to figure, Monday at noon, they can start negotiating, talking to like the players or the agents, negotiating. But they can't make anything official until Wednesday at 1 o'clock. All right, so Wednesday the 16th at 1 o'clock. So you got Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So in 5 days they can start actually signing somebody. But in 3 days they can start negotiating. All right, but I believe they gotta start clearing some cap space before they can start negotiating. So today's Friday. I mean, look for like this weekend or a couple early next week and all for some things to start shaking on. I said, I don't know. That doesn't mean like right off the bat the Giants are going to start signing people, because then they're not going to have much money. But I mean, within the next few days, I mean, I said we brought Shepard's contract down. Raleigh Dixon's gone. All right, so we just saved, as I said, like $7-8 million between those two. But I mean, between Blake Martinez, James Bradbury, anybody else we're going to do stuff with, look for things to start happening within these next couple of days. Well, as always, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. You guys stay safe out there and go Giants! Woo!